I've been thinking about something lately that I never would have admitted 10 years ago. I used to think I was a disciplined person, and I was, but really, more than that, I was actually a frightened person. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Nourished Life for Christian Women. So glad you're here today. I've been thinking about things that taking a little bit different view on these days than I used to. Just the other night, I had an experience where I have a class that I help teach, but I'm only one of few teachers, and most of us go all the time to help with the students. It's an English learning class. And the other night, I was just exhausted. I had been going on burning the candle at both ends for too long, and I was exhausted. Had taken a short nap to try to give me a little boost to make it through, and I only woke up more tired from that nap. And I was sitting at the table with my head in my hands, with my eyes closed, and I said, "I'm just so tired." And my husband, in all his infinite wisdom, says, "You don't have to go tonight." And I paused and I thought, you know what? I don't have to go. There are several other teachers that are there. The class will be well taken care of with or without me there. So why was I so insistent on pushing myself to go when clearly I needed something else, like rest, instead of going to a place where I needed to be on? And I got to thinking about that. And in the past, I would have soldiered through and gone, thinking I was being self-disciplined, put my body's needs aside and just go do the thing. The perspective I have now makes me look at that a little bit differently. I think, what exactly did I used to think would happen if I missed out on something like this, if I skipped out on something like this? I've seen this pattern before too with, when I was so disciplined in my workouts and developed what ended up being a really toxic relationship with activity. And what did I think exactly was going to happen if I missed a workout? What I realized that I was afraid of in the situation of being, missing that class, I would think that people would think I wasn't dependable, that I wasn't being where I should be when I should be there. I was worried about not fulfilling my what self-imposed duties, the way that I viewed the duties that I had, what I considered duty, which really wasn't. I thought discipline was part of what made me who I was. I like being the person that people can depend on, and I still do, but it looks different these days, not at the cost of myself anymore. I believe that if I stopped pushing myself, that I become lazy. That thinking also kept me from taking many a nap in the past when I was just really tired. But I thought, "No, I can't do that." In my mind, misguided idea, but I felt like, oh, lazy people nap in the day. I can't be lazy. Incorrect thinking. I worried that if I just listened to my body and I skipped a workout or if I did something else, that I would lose everything that I'd worked for. Maybe you can recognize yourself in some of those too. Maybe you can notice the difference. So, what really surprised me wasn't that when I stopped forcing myself to exercise, that I exercised less. I did have to step away from exercise for a little while because I was not in the brain space, I was not in the place. And so I had to kind of tone down what I was doing and stop everything but walking because I needed time to work through that to get a healthy relationship. But now I don't move less. I actually want to move more. And I do, but it's not that I'm hitting the gym. Now I'm doing double workouts instead of single workouts. It's that I'm working it naturally into my day. Do a little bit of yoga and Tai Chi in the morning, and then a little bit mid-morning, maybe take a 5-10 minute walk either outside or on my treadmill. Working in the yard. Love my olive trees. You may have heard me talk about my olive trees. Trimming my olive trees for an hour and a half, 2 hours. In the past, I would think that didn't count because it wasn't a workout. But now I understand, yes, it is. What was I afraid of before? Now I want to move more. Walking has become really, really enjoyable and less about step count and heart rate than just taking in my surroundings and feeling myself much more than just physically. We have an acre and a half here. There's plenty of yard work to do. Now, yard work counts. I realize I'm working hard when I'm out there. Hiking counts. And now when I say hiking, honestly, I'm less of a hiker and more of a walk in nature. I don't hike fast by any stretch. I love to meander and take in everything around me while I'm hiking. I have hiked Half Dome a couple of times, and no matter how slow you take that, that's a legit hike. But when I say hiking, I'm not talking about backpacking in the woods for a week at a time. I'm talking about going out in nature, however close or however far it may be, and just walking through nature and taking it all in and letting it fill me up. And that counts. I'm moving. My body became a partner instead of a project. And when it comes to teaching that class and feeling like I should go, and when I didn't really need to, now that instead, being afraid of being what other people might think or that I'm shirking my duties, I really realized that listening to myself and my body and what I needed so that I could then go on and serve in better ways and other ways and more whole and authentic ways in times when I actually needed to be there, when I didn't just think I should be there, which wasn't actually the case. Now, those times, those things, much more balance, much more partnership with my body instead of it just being a project, it being a vehicle, it being something that must be at my command and disregard its needs. So, I've been wondering lately, where else in my life am I still believing that control equals safety? How many times am I still doing things because I think I should, because I must be in control of the situation? Now, I don't try to control people. I realize that that's not, it's just never going to work. But just situations, where am I trying to control myself, not just have healthy self-discipline? Because healthy self-discipline is really important because we don't just get to always do everything that we want whenever we want, whatever whim comes to our mind. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really learning to honor ourselves. Sometimes following the whim, sometimes buckling down and doing the thing, whether we're tired or not. Sometimes not going to a class that I don't have to go to because I don't really need to be there. And what I need to do is honor my body. So, what other places am I looking at in my life? Am I doing that? Am I practicing unhealthy control and thinking that it's just self-discipline? Because I think that's a way that keeps me safe. It keeps what other people think of me intact. That's their opinion. Let them have it. I just need to be myself. So, where is control becoming unhealthy? And sometimes it's really subtle ways. But I invite you to ponder that question for yourself. Is there fear behind some of the things that you're trying to control? And if so, what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? Interestingly, when I was studying the Old Testament a couple of years ago, the message that I kept seeing over and over again was be not afraid, fear not. And I saw it so many times that I thought, man, how many times does it say it here in scriptures? So I was looking at the King James version of the Bible, and I counted how many times it had phrases like be not afraid, fear not, be of good courage, things like that. Interestingly, I found 365. I don't think that was coincidental that there's 365 days a year and some form of be not afraid in a one for every day. We're not meant to live in fear. Paul says, I have not given you the spirit of fear. He has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of sound mind. We don't need to live in fear. And sometimes some of the habits that we have, some of the ways that we approach life that look healthy and look strong can actually be based in fear. And it's a really good thing to stop and take a look at those so that we can move beyond that. In the meantime, I invite you to remember that eating is peaceful, movement is joyful, and your worth never up for debate. See you next time. If today's episode or any other has resonated with you, I wanted you to know that I offer a free 30-minute call. If you'd like to schedule that, you can find the details for how to do that in the description for this episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe.